And you mentioned Peraza. I think that rolls us back into a very interesting point um, of what's happened over this past few weeks. I mean, the Yankees have seemingly mashed, put up like some good offensive stats in a lot of games, shut down occasionally here. But looking at the numbers cutting for these last 2 weeks that we're covering, we're not gonna so much get into game or series recaps because there's so many games that the Yankees played 13 games since we last had a podcast. But we're looking at only a few guys who were above average. Um, WRC plus and OPS plus, and those guys were way above average. That's Judge at a 213. We already talked about that issue, which is he's at an otherworldly rate so far. And it's crazy because he had an even first 2 months from his first 2 months last year. Now he's out indefinitely. We had Jake Bowers, who seems to be playing out of his mind. Willie Calhoun, 125 OPS plus. Past that, the only Yankees who have an above 100 OPS plus are Josh Donaldson and Giancarlo Stanton, who are in a 4 game. And I mean, both of them had a day off, so they only had 12 plate appearances uh,
Yeah.
and have played 3 games. Donaldson has a 275 WRC plus, and Stanton has a 112. You look at all these numbers being down, and one that stands out is there's a 13 WRC plus and a -5 um, WRA. That's coming from Anthony Volpe. Uh, Anthony
Oh,
Volpe in the last 2 weeks is batting 122 with a 163 on base, um, a 146 isolated power, and 431 OPS, which they're abysmal. They are really, really bad numbers. But I look at some of these game recaps that I have in the notes. I'm looking at a Volpe walk-off sac fly. I'm looking at 2 significant Volpe home runs in the Mariner series, in the Dodgers series, in which his swing looked great, but his strikeouts are incredible. Anthony Volpe is striking out more than 1 out of every 3 plate appearances. Um, and even in the modern age of baseball, that is just not a sustainable level to be at, and it's not a major league level. And we have a top prospect, Oswald Peraza, behind him, who is putting up these numbers. And I don't think I'm calling for Volpe's job. I don't think I'm calling for Anthony Volpe to not be the shortstop anymore because this is the risk that you run with calling up guys who have had limited minor league experience and you're going on potential is that Volpe is developing in live time. By this development, the Yankees have put together a good stretch, but now we're looking at more bleak times coming up. What have you seen from Volpe? What do you think of his play recently?
first of all, his home run swing when he does connect with the ball is beautiful. It's one of the best home run swings I've seen, and his power for his size is unreal. I mean, he hits balls 420 to 460 feet when he does connect with the ball. The problem is he's not connecting off enough to like fully justify it. Um, but I do agree that he should ultimately. I think it's kind of too late to send him down almost because they did promise him like we're going to stick through with you thick or thin. So that means we're going to let you develop and that let you struggle if you need to struggle. It's a matter of just like sorting those issues out, those little kinks. And the kinks that I'm seeing right now is there's two things. It's pretty much his biggest kryptonite is the pitch up and in. He's not able to catch up to the fastball up and in at all. So he keeps on chasing it, and if you're chasing that pitch, you're not going to make contact with it with the trajectory of his swing, essentially. So if he can learn how to either lay off of it or not even change his swing, but have a B swing, the same way that Gleyber Torres had a B swing where he like not even chokes up, but he has a little toe tap, and rather than trying to snap the barrel, he just kind of flips his wrists a little bit and just gets bat to ball. And if he can learn how to induce that and add that to his arsenal, then you're looking at a significantly different player because with his speed, he will be getting a lot more, you know, like infield hits and then also just like little slap singles the other way, almost like that Derek Jeter style of hitting. I think that the power that he has is like you have to acknowledge it. It's so good. But at the same time, if you're only connecting with the ball very small percentage of the time, it's not doing you much good in the long run. So you need to find ways to be sustainable with your offense throughout the year. And he has too many tools to be struggling this hard. And on another note, just with his strikeout rates the way they are at this moment, you got to believe that Estevan Florial is probably like punching the air right now. because that's the main reason the Yankees haven't used him that much in the last few seasons. He has a teeny little sample size within like Major League ball play. I think it's like maybe 40 games or like even less than that. I'm not really sure on the numbers of what exactly he's played with the Yankees, but it seems like they have a willing or unwillingness to like bring him up for that exact reason. He strikes out around 35% of the time. Guess what? Volpe is close to that number right now. So show me the justification there. That's like the biggest issue I have with that entire situation. Ultimately, I do want to see Volpe develop at this level still, but like I said, he needs to figure out how he's going to make adjustments to that pitch up and in. I think once he figures that out, he'll be more comfortable taking some sliders low and away, which is also another weaker point of his. He seems to roll over those or just hit them softly on the ground to, shortstop or second base. But yeah, I think that fastball up and in is his biggest place where he needs to make adjustments sooner rather than later.
Estevan Florial right now, in 41 games in Scranton, 12 homers, 30 RBI, a 317 batting average, a 1.04 OPS. Oswald Peraza behind him, 322 batting average, 1.02. Andre Chaparro is even putting up an 800 OPS. Billy McKinney, who's coming up now, 274, 900 OPS. Yeah, I mean, Volpe is not giving major league shortstop production, and it doesn't help that in these series, notably in the Orioles and in the Padres series, Volpe made a few misplays on the field where he's supposed to be a defensive plus. And yesterday he stole another base, and I turned to my girlfriend who loves Anthony Volpe because he is electric to watch. Like, he's an awesome athlete, and Volpe has homered in more than half of the games I've been to at Yankees games this year. So that's helped, that he homers more than Judge does when I bring my girlfriend. He got on base once and he stole second, and he's 15 for 15, I think, now in stolen bases, but he's getting on at a 16% clip, and that is just like unacceptable at a major league level. So it's really bittersweet. A lot of stuff really good happened within this time that we were gone. The Yankees looked like a really solid team, but it was on the back of Aaron Judge. It was on the back of some really good relief pitching performances. And now with injuries gone, I think it's going to highlight some of the underlying not so good things that were happening through with the Yankees, because these 2-week splits are not fun to look at.
Yeah. And the crazy thing with his numbers right now is I've seen a few 162 game paces with him thrown around. He's still on base for like 25 homers and like 35 stolen bases, which is the frustrating part of all of this. Like, if he puts it together, you're looking at an Alfonso Soriano like season.
Or more like a Rougned Odor season. Honestly.
Legend, yeah. I'll take that any day of the week. But it's frustrating in that sense because he is so close yet so far in the same way. And what's saving him a little bit is the fact that the higher paid shortstops in the game, like Trey Turner and then Carlos Correa, are not performing at an elite level right now, and their numbers are pretty much on par with his. So that's kind of bringing the standard for shortstops down a little bit if you're looking at the league-wide scale. But at the same time, you can't bank on that much longer because those guys are elite players, and they've proven throughout their careers that they come through in the biggest moments. And whatever their slumps are due to, like, I'm sure they'll turn it around unless Correa is really having issues with that ankle. That's a whole different conversation as well. But the fact of the matter is, you've got Peraza sitting in AAA, probably with his hands up in the air, like, when am I going to get my opportunity? Am I going to get an opportunity here? Like, there has to be some kind of clarity coming very soon with the sheer amount of injuries that the Yankees have had in the last few, like the entire season, really.